Here we are, project F150, doing the 4-inch rough country suspension lift. Over here's majority of the parts. Got a box in the house. First step, get these wheels and tires off and get them up on jack stands if you ain't got a hoist. Wheels and tires are off on the jack stand. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take the brake off, the caliper, mounting bracket, going to hang the caliper so we leave the line attached. We'll get the rotor off, take the dust cap off, the nut for the axle, take the dust shield off. We're going to get make sure you get all the lines loose here. We're going to we'll be taking that out once we get down into there. That's the wheel sensor. Get all this off, and we'll start taking the tie rod ends off and the ball joints off. Before we do that, we'll spin this around and get the nuts off for get the actuator. I'll show you that when we get to that. With these, you should be able to take a hammer. Once the nut's off, you might have to use a wrench on this to hold it from spinning to loosen the nut, but you should be able to take a hammer, give it a tap, it should come loose. Now we're going to get busy. Okay, we got everything loose, got the tie rod in off, as you can see. Nut, watch the hammer come out of there. Got the bottom ball joint loose. We got the top ball joint loose. A little trick, use your jack right here like this. That's the best way to do it, this way, to collapse your suspension up a little bit, because when you go take it out of there, it's going to pop up out of there. It's definitely going to pop out of there on me because I have that 2.5 inch spacer in the top there. So this is definitely going to help with that a little bit. Okay, here's your bracket. I want to point out something I learned on this that I was going by instructions, but it's easier to get to and taking off. We was going to originally take these 3 bolts off while it was on the truck. You don't have to take them off with it on the truck. Just remove your vacuum line. You get this off. After we get it off, it'll be easier to fool with. This stuff will come off this side. Your wheel bearing and stuff will come off the other side and go into the new piece like this, supplied from rough country. So instead of taking these off beforehand, just take them off after, make it easier. Take the center nut out of the axle. Once all this stuff's loose, it pulls right off the axle. Something else we did to keep from popping on top of the jack being placed, once I got it loose, I had a pry bar in right here, held down while I loosened the nut up, and that kept that from flinging up. And I had a bungee cord around the top part to hold it from falling back once this come out, and then I just ease it down and off the axle. Another thing I try to do when working on things, as you can see here and everything I've done to keep nuts and bolts from being everywhere and wondering where they go, I put the nuts and the bolts back in the holes they come out of. Then on reverse install, you can just pick them right off and put them right back on, and you won't lose them. Alright, now, gotten all that off. 2 nuts, bottom of the strut. Take them off. I give it a little whack. Make sure it wasn't all the pressure on it's loose. There's 3 nuts up here on top, but I already put the leveling kit in so it has Allen wrenches. The best way to get to them is through the top on the inside here. Raise the hood, get on the crate, come in from the top. I got them 3 out. Next is just prying down on this to get it down out of the hole. Okie dokie, update on where we are at. Last night we finished off the other side just like we did this side, getting the A-arm and everything off. On top of that, we come down, took the 4 bolts out for this piece of the cross member. We took the skid plate off and the little carpet like cover on underneath. So today we've come out and started. First thing I did, take the dry shaft bolts out, 10 millimeter. You can hold a wrench on one, break down loose till you all get all the way around, and then once you get all the way around, that one there was I just tightened it tad with a wrench, and then got this one loose, and then I could loosen that valve with just holding a dry shaft. Instruction says to pull that dry shaft out of there, but as you can see, I got it bungee cord up and over out of the way. Then you want to start and take the very upper bolt off for your differential, which is up in behind this steering thing. So what I did, it says use a wrench, 18mm wrench. So I went up in here with an 18mm wrench with another wrench on it, got it broke loose a couple turns, and then I went up through the front here, front of the truck, in between the radiator, with a couple long extensions and a swivel. Made it a whole lot easier getting that out. So once I got that out, I went to the other side, took the bottom or the passenger side bolt out, and we also pulled the rubber tube off the top of the differential. I've got the driver's side bolt about out right here, and due to not having a hoist and my big jack stand holding the truck up, that jack stand is a little too short, so we're going to get a board possibly put under it. This here's maxed out, but once I took that passenger side out, it set down on this. I got my nephew coming. We're probably going to old school this thing down out of there with just getting under it and lifting it down. I picked up on that passenger side, and it's all aluminum, so it didn't feel that heavy. It also says you can pull these out. I'm just going to leave them in there. It just adds weight, I think, is why they want you to pull it out. So I'm going to get this one bolt out here, and me and my nephew, and we're going to manhandle this down and out of there. Then we'll just have the template to put on this side and that side. Trim that off. Why they want you to do that, because this is going to get lowered down, and as you can see now, it's setting on it. So when we lower this out of here, we're going to have to come down and rotate it and tilt it up and down as we come down. All right, the front pumpkin is out. You use, let me turn this around here. You use the template supplied, and you mark out your place to cut off. Instead of us wrestling and manhandling this front end out there like we did earlier, I said earlier, we ended up using the jack to tilt it up in the angle and cut the bottom part of the bracket off to clearance it, so it just dropped right out of there. If you're careful and have help, you can do that. We got this cut now. Oh. Getting ready to smooth it up, put a little bit of black paint. We have got the brackets started onto the front differential. Don't have them completely tight, so you can move them when you mount them back up. Everything just mounting them back up in reverse. These will go bolt into the factory locations.